In this video, we are going to go over how to generate settlements based off of driver movements and charges. So if we go under our accounting section here, we'll click on the settlements, where you will see a list of already generated settlements with some basic information in terms of the driver, the date that they were generated, cutoff of information to be included, as well as a total. If we want to create a new settlement, we will click on the Create button here. This will then give us a list of drivers that would still have unpaid transactions linked to them. So you are going to be able to search for specific drivers as well as filter for specific criteria, whether it is a specific type, pay method, as well as whether they are 1099 or W-2. You are going to be selecting your cutoff date for info to be included, so the last date for any movement and or associated charge to be visible here and added to a settlement, as well as then a settlement date. That could be in the future, for example, so if you're generating something on a Wednesday, you can then have the date actually be on a Friday as an example, and you will select that there. So what you are going to be doing is reviewing your driver's movements as well as charges and selecting what you would like to add to a specific settlement. So the movements here are going to be pulling from the sequence of their loads. So if we go into one of these loads here, for example, as they are dispatched and delivered, you will then see these movements created, typically going in that sequence of empty loaded, empty loaded. So these movements here, as you can see under the load, are going to be then included in that settlement screen if they are unpaid. If you go into more detailed info regarding the specific movement, you are going to see the origin and destination, the distance that was covered for IFTA purposes, the load association, if any, as well as a start and end date, and tied assets, so your driver, truck, and trailer. You'll have a separate financial section for this movement here, where you will be able to then edit if needed and choose if it is to be included in a driver settlement or not. You can differentiate between your driven distance and paid distance if you are paying, let's say for example, per mile for a specific driver. Otherwise, it is going to be pulling that default pay method as movements are generated from the driver's profile. So whether they are going to be getting per mile, a percentage, a flat rate, per loaded mile, movement flat rate, you can then adjust those there if they are being changed based off of any last minute adjustments. Otherwise, they will be pulling here under the financial section of the driver profile, where you are setting their main payment method. So if we go back to creating the settlements, you are going to be seeing any movements here available that were not already paid out and included on a previous settlement. You are then going to have an ability to make any last minute changes as well in terms of adjusting any distance, gross pay for percentage drivers, the actual method, as well as the rate itself. You are going to get a summary here at the top of your empty and loaded as well as total miles, any gross pay associated to that, as well as the paycheck if you need to adjust a separate flat, for example, salary amount. You can input that here, as well as any earnings and deductions based off of charges and their types. So again, these charges are going to be pulling from anything created under the driver's profile specifically, or if they are load associated charges, that would be included and associated to the driver that way. So whether they are deductions or earnings, again, an ability to make any changes at the last minute, as well as monitor what you have with any adjustments. So simple unclick of the box, and as you can see, totals will be adjusting. So you are going to be going through your movements and charges, selecting what you'd like, and basically approving then drivers one by selecting this box right here as well, where then you will see the total amount able to be adjusted with these then check boxes of the amount of settlements that you'll be processing. So as you can see, I have 2 drivers selected. I would be processing all of those settlements by clicking this process button. So let me select one after review, and if I would like a preview of the settlement, I can click on the magnifying glass for then to see a actual PDF settlement before actually processing it, to make sure that I have all my information correct, or even preemptively send this to the driver before actually then exchanging funds as well. So if we go back to this screen, the process would be to again double check all of the movements that you'd like included, as well as any charges, any last minute changes. Click on process. You will see then a summary before you are to approve them here of all of the totals per driver, as well as a grand total. You'll click on approve, where you will see then the settlements processed with a little progress bar, and again seeing what was done successfully. If everything was done, you can click on the button as well, and as you can see then for any future settlements, your movements and charges would be adjusted based off of what was processed previously. As you can see, we have less things to select from. If we go back to our settlements list, you'll see that then those settlements here are going to be listed as historical records. Let's say we made a mistake on something and we need to change it. We do not necessarily need to regenerate that settlement again by deleting it and doing everything from the beginning. We can make our adjustments here by opening up that existing settlement. If we need to make any adjustments to the settlement date here, the flat amount, as well as any specific movements and charges, whether we included them on accident or maybe potentially missed something as well, we can click on the add. If there's anything available to add that is not yet processed, we can select it and click on add. In this case, there is not. But let's say we added one we did not want to include. We can then remove it here. As you can see, it'll be highlighted in red. You can click on save, and then the settlement here will be adjusted. Total amounts have been changed, and the one charge has been removed. You're able to also view the settlement again or download it directly, and then you can manage all of the driver settlements again accordingly from this main list and create new ones by clicking create, taking you to this generation page. Let us know if you have any questions.